Welcome to my garden. We are in the mountains of western New Hampshire. We're currently on the east side of our house, which is the kitchen, cottage, potager garden, whatever you want to call it. It's the raised bed garden where most of the annual vegetables are growing. After we have a look through these garden beds, we're going to go to the west side of the house where we have a small food forest, and we'll show you what's growing out there. Standing back by the door of the house, this is what we see when we first come out. Some sunflowers generously planted by the birds, and then we have a small garden bed along the terrace wall there, and then our 6+ raised beds in the back. So we're gonna start down in the back corner. But as we walk back there, we'll just quickly go by this raised bed garden on the side here. The sunflowers and the zinnias are finally taking off. They had a horrible start in life with the Japanese beetles. They just ravaged them. Now that the Japanese beetles have subsided, they are coming out and they are just beautiful. And the sunflowers are stunning. That one just opened a couple of days ago and the bees have been all over it. But also in this bed, I've got some mixed herbs like thyme, some scallions, that's a tomato I'm just experimenting with there. But also some brassicas, some broccolis. Those are Desico broccolis. I'm probably not pronouncing it right. I've been shocked at how they have done through this summer of heat wave after heat wave. I just kind of chopped off the stems that were wanting to go to seed, and they keep putting out new little shoots. So we haven't been able to eat anything yet, but was trying to nurse them through to the cooler weather, which is finally here. And then these are some kales that also are finally starting to look a little bit better. Now down in this back corner, this is kind of the start of a fall garden. I did a row of Desico broccoli, a row of Waltham 29 broccoli, and a smaller row of snowball white cabbages. Some of the seedlings, and almost forgot, some Table King acorn squash. That's so far so good. I'm just waiting for something to eat them because that keeps happening. One little broccoli sprout, and all of the hills sprouted, but they either got instantly mowed over by a slug or withered in the heat. So I'm going to have to replant these seedlings. And then this bare soil back here is just, it needs some attention, some amending, and so that's what's happening here. I've been slowly collecting these wood chips in the back of my car and bringing them from Bob's parents' house over to here to help get this soil some nutrition because we want to grow more food back here next year. So basically we're just doing a giant decomposing raised bed in this hole that was back here. So I've just been filling it with branches and sticks and things, and then it'll get a leaf layer, but this needs to be amended, so that'll be in an upcoming video. But we are officially at the back of the garden beds now. We'll just start with the smallest ones back here. These are just 2 halves of an old grill that Bob had that I threw my mint in. This is mojito mint, and then that one is apple mint, and then just some extra tomatoes that I had just to kind of act as a trap crop, some marigolds and nasturtiums in each just for the pest management. The mint is looking pretty good. I bought both of these. The apple mint I started from seed. The mojito mint I bought a start at the nursery, but I'm hoping next year, and that's catnip for the cats. Got to keep the cats happy. Yeah, the mint, hopefully next year, we'll just take over these and they can live in these beds. So in front of the mint beds, I just made these 2 small beds. I don't know, they're about 1.5 feet wide by 1.5 feet long for cherry tomatoes. They're looking okay. They're getting a little stunted for growth at this point because this is due east and that's where the sun comes up. Now that we're getting closer to the fall, we are losing light back here, so these, especially up to this whole garden bed here, doesn't get sun anymore until about 11 a.m., which is not great. So I don't know how well these are going to survive for the rest of the season, but these are sweet 100s. There is no fruit on this one at all, and it's really leggy. This one has a bunch of fruit, but is not putting on any more size. So that's probably all we're gonna get from these guys. And then just some random kales. What was a marigold before the slugs got to it. A nasturtium, another nasturtium. And by the way, these twigs with leaves were my sad attempt to give nasturtiums some shade and the kale some shade. I didn't know nasturtiums loved their shade until it was kind of a little too late. So, oops. There really has been a lot of learning opportunity this year because this is my first year back into gardening after many years not gardening. And on top of that, these are all brand new garden beds this spring. Just in case you might be new here, just a little background info. This is my partner's property and I moved in here with him early spring. He has been building the side of this slope into some terraced areas for growing food, and this is the first year he's really been able to do that. So this is the first year that there's food growing here in these beds. We just made them this spring. In fact, we were a bit delayed getting this whole garden bed in. We were waiting on sawmill parts to make the raised beds. And so none of this actually got planted until mid to late June. And at that point, all of the seeds I had started were pretty much languishing in their pots, and especially the winter sown brassicas that I did in the milk jugs. It worked beautifully, and I'm really excited to do that again next spring. But they just really suffered in those milk jugs. They were really root bound and nutrient deficient, as many things were, as a lot of things are, because this soil is new and fresh as well. It's just soil we harvested from the forest. It's very clay. It dries out into just silty dust and sand, basically. It's very compacted on these terraces just because of building the terraces took a lot of tractor work. This soil just needs organic matter really badly. So we did not expect miracles from this garden this first year. In fact, as we go through, there's quite a few nutrient deficiencies that we'll probably see, or at least I assume that's what's going on. Again, I don't have a lot of experience. So as we go through, if you see things that you think you know what the problem is or what's going on with a particular plant, please feel free to let me know in the comments. I would love to absorb a bunch of knowledge from anyone who is willing to give some thoughts on things. I knew a lot of this growing season would be about learning the soil, learning the sun patterns on this property. That's been really important, as we just saw from the tomatoes. So I know next growing season, we're just going to come into it a lot better off. These raised beds should be the first soil to thaw out. We should be able to have a proper spring harvest of say the brassicas, as well as a fall harvest, whereas mine have just been trying to limp them through the insane heat of this summer, which we'll see how they did in just a second. So yeah, just keep that in mind as we go through. No one has been living their best life out here this season, except for me. This back raised bed right next to the cherry tomatoes is the indeterminate tomato bed. These two are Brandywine, 2 Cherokee Purples, and then 2 San Marzanos. They don't look great. They're not in great shape. I don't know what's going on with these Cherokee Purples. I've never grown them before. I'm not exactly sure what I should be looking for ripeness on these, but also they don't look great. And some of the San Marzanos, I've had to clip off some of the fruits because they started to develop blossom end rot. These 3 on this side, which is the more northern side, these get a little bit more sun, so they're a little bit taller than this side of the bed, which is interesting. And these Brandywine fruit look pretty good. The stems are incredibly sturdy, but I don't know, they just haven't put on any more height in quite some time. Especially these Cherokee Purples, once these first fruit clusters were set, they looked super promising at first, but then they just kind of stunted, possibly for sunlight. I'm not sure, but I'm guessing absolutely some nutrient deficiency going on. There's also other things dotted in here. I mean, there's this beautiful Tulsi basil back here, which I can't tell if it's exhibiting a little bit of nutrient deficiency as well, or if it's just that's what happens with it this time of year, with a little bit of red tinting on the leaf. And then all through the bed is all of this beautiful clover that's actually doing not bad. This is all crimson clover. that I bought specifically as a cover crop and soil builder. At the start of the season, I did not know we would be getting any wood chips, so I just wanted to plant something that would cover the soil around the vegetables so it wasn't just drying right out. So I got some crimson clover cover crop, and it's in these back 4 beds as well as the smaller beds. It's sprinkled in a little bit. I'm just gonna chop and drop this into the beds in the fall. This is gonna be really enriching for the soil for next year, and hopefully these wood chips will decompose down a bit too. I'm just gonna chop and drop whatever I can just to keep the nutrients adding and start adding some organic matter to this soil. Honestly, I probably should have fertilized all of the beds a lot more frequently than I did, but I'm just trying to save money, I guess, which is lame because I'm trying to save money on food as well, but I'm probably gonna change my mind for next year. I don't know, let me know what you think. My plan for all of these beds, to put them to rest for the winter, is to chop and drop everything in and then add, hopefully, a layer of compost. I'm waiting to come across free compost on Marketplace. If I have to pay for it, I probably will if it gets to that point, but I'm hoping to see some more free. I would love to add a nice compost layer to all of these beds, and then a nice layer of leaves after the leaves fall, and then another wood chip layer, and hopefully next year we start to see some improvement. In that bed, I also did a spooky pumpkin, but it's, I don't think getting enough sunlight at this point. And then on the other side, oh, right, just a simple Florida weave to hold those beauties up. And then cucumbers on the back side of them, which are doing okay. Those went in really late. Over the archway, more cucumbers. Look at that guy. That is the first and only big cucumber. Not big. I mean, it's you know, it's not ready yet. But oh, look, there's a teeny tiny. But that's all so far. And these plants have been here a while. They've not been doing the greatest. But in this bed is peppers and tomatillos, which, holy moly, I really need to add some additional support to those guys. It was so windy last night that one of the branches in the middle snapped, which makes me so sad. But yeah, I need to get another round of support for these upper branches because they're going crazy. And then I've got 3 peppers in here, as well as this crimson clover in this bed went crazy. But these 3 peppers I bought as plant starts from a nursery. This is a shishito, which is not fruiting at all. I assume this is nutrient deficiency, this coloring. But yeah, absolutely no fruit at all. This one, is that the ahirico? Yeah. This pepper's in the ahirico. Also, I assume some nutrient deficiency there, but it's been giving us some good peppers. It's got a few on there. And then a sweet banana, which has quite a few. Again, more yellowy, I assume nutrient deficiency. Handful of good pepper. Oh no, a bug. Dang it. This browning, I see that. Is that normal, or is that a nutrient situation as well? I'm curious. I definitely see it frequently. I've just always kind of wondered if that's natural. I mean, it doesn't feel any different. But yeah, we're going to get a few of those. Hopefully some cucumbers. I don't know. Behind the tomatillos, I tucked 2 determinate tomatoes. These are the Roma VFs. Right. Very stunted. The fruit looks great though. The fruit looks, oh no. Oh no. Okay. Oh dear. You're coming to the windowsill. That wasn't good. Anyway, the fruit looks great, but I don't think they're gonna be adding on any more height. They've pretty much just languished at that height. And that's the same for the determinates at the end of these 4 beds. Is what it is. But back at this end of the bed next to the aisle, Again, more sticks for shading. I was trying to limp a bunch of lettuce, celery, and spinach through the heat. Did not work. Got random dill everywhere. Love dill. Looking good. But that lettuce probably all needs to be ripped out and started over. I planted a row of spinach and it just was too hot for anyone to even germinate. Oh, and the celery, of course. The celery has been here. I bought these as plant starts from a nursery in June, late June. And they look really nice and green now, but no height or growth to speak of. Do we think they're going to take off now that it's a little bit cooler, or is it nutrients? I don't know. And now the bed closest to the front door at the front here, I did another lettuce, spinach, celery situation along the pathway here, and same story. This bed is filled with more peppers and a giant dill. Looking good there. In these front two beds, these two beds went in earlier than the other four. Instead of crimson clover, I planted lacy phacelia flowers around the edge just as a different cover crop, soil protector, whatever you want to call it. I absolutely adore them. Come on, like, look at that beauty. So cute. The bees love it. The hummingbirds love it. But anyway, this is the pepper bed. We've got 1, 2, 3 serrano plants, and those are putting out, you know, a few small, okay, for what the plants are, a good amount of peppers. And then 3 jalapenos. This one is just not loving life, but still a couple of fruits. Looking a little better over here and better over there. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bell peppers. This one we picked a pepper off of an 8, but that's really the only pepper it gave. I don't know if those are gonna fruit again. This one, dang it with the bugs. A couple little ones on that might do something. I don't know. I've never had great luck with growing peppers ever. So I was impressed we ate one. I'll be impressed if there's more. Hey, bugs. I don't know. All the leaves kind of also scream nutrient deficiency to me. But the marigold is ecstatic about things. The nasturtium, not so much. These are Ace 55 slicer tomatoes. Doing okay. I'm hopeful here, but probably not gonna get much more. That's okay. A couple of Space Master 80 cucumbers in pots. I started them both in this pot, thinned them down, one of them down to here, and obviously, yeah, not gonna transplant again next year, I don't think. All right, let's head all the way back and go down the other side. So there is a 4th garden bed on this side. It's just a half size, just using scraps of the lumber that we had extra of from milling the other beds. The point of this bed is, well, there was a horseradish root planted in there that just probably got too dried out before we were able to get it in the ground. So not much happening there, but everything else is doing okay. This Signet marigold is happy about life. The nasturtium, though, not so much. And those 3 squash, because yeah, there's one. Definitely not going to get anything from that one. But that yellow leaf situation definitely screams nutrient deficiency to me. But again, if you know otherwise, please let me know in the comments. And then we just had some poppies mixed in. Well, it was a whole wildflower mix, but the poppies were the only things that sprouted because the seeds were like a decade old. Another trap crop extra tomato I had. Some extra dinosaur kales that I needed somewhere to go. They've not loved the heat, but they are starting to look a little bit better. And then down there was an attempt at some green beans that are not really getting any sun at this point. Pole variety, bush variety, bush variety. And I've tried a few times. Oh, and some red acre cabbages tucked in there that are definitely not gonna do anything at this point. Hardy geranium. Joe pieweed I transplanted. Swamp milkweeds. I started from seed, planted them over in this area on the bank along the stream that runs through here, but they just weren't getting enough sunlight. And they're still not gonna do anything over here, but it's okay. We're gonna try again next year. Spin the other way. In the next bed over, the cauliflower bed. These are also snowball Y cauliflowers. They were winter sown back in February. And yeah, again, with the attempt at shade, honestly, these arch trellises gave them pretty decent, like hot midday shade, as well as that tree up there. So they didn't actually bolt in all of the heat waves that we've had. So I mean, they look like crap, but they're alive. I'm just gonna let them see how they do. Obviously, you know, the cabbage worms showed up and I did my best at hand plucking the cabbage worms, the Japanese beetles, snails, slugs. They've seen some things out here. Now that the weather's cooled off, I'm really interested to see if they're gonna do anything. I mean, they've probably spent so much energy just trying to exist at this point. I don't know. And then down the middle, a nice row of Danvers carrots. Not looking too bad. I think they also appreciated the good amount of shade this summer because, you know, they're alive. That's lovely. I tried to start some turnips and some beets, but they just whizzled in the heat. I'm gonna replant those guys, I think. And then on the trellis, okay, this loofah is not looking great. I don't know. This just started happening. This dark, I don't know what's going on there. The peas on this side though look good. Finally, like they went in late. They could probably use a little more rope support here, but I'm finally getting my first garden snacks. Some of them have tasted a little rough, let's be honest, but finally. And the ones over here look a lot better than the ones over here. These are, I'm guessing, sunlight deficient on that side. Honestly, I probably should have pulled those leaves off. By the way, this is just trellises I made out of saplings that needed to be thinned out of the forest because, you know, we're gardening on a budget over here. We're trying to do things for $0, and why not? So I left the leaves on the very tops of the saplings to provide the brassicas shade, but I don't think the peas loved that. Now I've also got 2 loofahs on this side that have branched into 3 different, 4. Gosh, this one's split right here. Yeah, it's been looking okay. In fact, they've met at the top and they're duking it out up there now. It has flowered. This one was the first flower and it's past now. I've never grown loofah before, so I'm guessing that's what's supposed to be the fruit behind this flower here. If that's the case, it has been that size for quite some time, so I don't know if it'll develop, but it's also developed these, whoops, horrible lighting. I'm so sorry. Let's see if we can get a different angle. It's also developed these little, I don't know if these are seed pods. I don't know. Is this going to be the fruit? I'm not sure. I was really hoping to get some loofah this year because I want to make kitchen and bath scrubbers, trying to use less plastic, and you know, the bottom leaves are looking a little haggard, but I think that's kind of normal. I don't know. Anyway, this bed is broccoli. I think these are all Desico broccolis as well, which is actually quite a heat tolerant variety. So they actually look quite fine. And of course there's some sprinkled crimson clover in there, and then 3 red acre cabbage on the end. The one in the middle looks good, I think. Another marigold, and these are Ace 55 slicer tomatoes. Yeah, the hornworms arrived sometime last week or so. Didn't notice until I had an entirely defoliated leaf. I should probably trim these defoliated branches off at this point. I'm guessing they're probably just costing the plant at this point. Let me know if I should do that or leave them. But hopeful that these fruits will be okay. So far so good, but probably not gonna get any more growth. And then on that trellis though, those are exciting. These are Purple Triumph pole beans, which that one is huge. Probably should have picked that by now, but this is honestly the first pole beans that are ready. They went in late as well. So the plants have not done great here. This one has green foliage, and this one's foliage is deep purple and wizzly, and I'm assuming that's some nutrient situation going on, but same variety, just insanely different foliage. And then next to them is some Kentucky Wonders, or Kentucky Contender. Kentucky Wonder, I think. They're looking okay, or I should say this one is looking okay. And I repeated that over here. The Kentucky Wonders are looking a little bit better on this side, but still no green beans from them yet. And then the Purple Triumphs, only 2 of them made it, I think, yeah. And this one's looking okay, but it hasn't started to set any beads yet. So, oh no, I take that back. I take that back. Very exciting. So, those seem hardy. We'll see. I'm gonna give the I'm hating on the Kentucky Wonders. Look at that. All right, we'll see. We'll see what happens here. And actually, before we move to that next bed, at the end of these 2 front beds, I did zucchinis. This one, probably not going to get anything out of. But these 2, and oh my gosh, I grew 2 to experiment with staking. That was the point of these. So I need to get this staked up, or one of these. But we're getting a little zucchini from that one. We'll see what we get out of that. But yeah, those are just on. They don't get much light because this tree shades, and then this tree shades, and then that tree shades. So that's been a learning curve for the 3 beds. On this side, they get a little more shade than I was anticipating, which again, it's okay for the brassicas, I think, but not everyone's loving it. Anyway, brings us to the front bed on this side, which is mostly more broccoli and some lacinato kales. And recently I started some Hale's Best Jumbo cantaloupe, but they're really not gonna do anything, I don't think. Should have started those way earlier in the season. And then 2 more Roma VFs, pretty sure. The Seco broccoli. Honestly, they have started to look better in the last couple days now that the nights have cooled way off. I feel hopeful, but not expectant. I don't know. And then I put this little arch thing in for the cantaloupes that I don't think are gonna do anything, but I also plopped this cherry tomato. This is a Cherry Falls. We started growing it in the house this spring. Got a few tomatoes on it. I threw it outside and it looked kind of dead for a couple days and then rebounded real hard. Picked a bunch off of this for dinner last night, and clearly more to come. It's very exciting. So there we have it. That's the raised bed front side of the house. For next year, not only are we going to be expanding the growing area at the back down there for some shade-loving things, but also These lower terraces get full all day long sun, but they have almost no nutrition. We're gonna pop down here very, very quickly. So right under the door, we've got a bleeding heart, a beach rose, a rhododendron I planted this spring, which looks lovely, squash, 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 all started this spring, and absolutely no, they struggled so hard out here. It is so dry, so clay, so just not the thrive environment. But on this side, oh, and a clematis that's not loving life. I'm hoping she'll come back next year. I don't know. Other side of the stairs, more squash. Another rhododendron that gets too much sun. I was really hoping the clematis would take off, and I had planted another one here that died. I wanted to do like an arched arbor up over the stairs to give this beauty some shade, but it didn't work out. Next year though, this poor thing's gonna get more shade. It's still doing really great despite that, I think, but she needs nutrition, she needs shade. Yeah. And then a forsythia, it's in here, I swear. There she is. Just a little rootstock I planted. A buddleia rootstock I planted. Those, I'm just hopeful they come back next spring. Extra squash I threw in the ground. Extra squash I threw in the ground. Skunks ate it. That was a squash hill as well. Things are just not thriving down here, and like, yikes. So these two terraces are both going to get amended, and oh, future project I cannot wait to share with you guys. Building has started. Oof, that's coming up. But yeah, just really need to get a solid cover crop on here this fall. Gonna do some peas and oats to build the soil. So gonna give everything a final weed eating, leave it in place, give everything a leaf layer and then a wood chip layer, and hope for the best for next year. Now, let's go back up and out back. And on our way, quick little, yeah, I needed more space to put more brassicas because we started so many in the milk jugs. I wasn't expecting it to work so great. So I did these 4 little box planters and shoved a trunk in them and covered it with a bunch of saplings. And we have $0 pergola situation, sort of. We're building a permanent pergola structure probably next year, but it was a quick, easy, cheap fix. And it gave me a spot to plant the extra broccolis I had kicking around. None of this looks good. And this is morning glories. The hope for them was that they were going to provide the shade as well as like beautiful foliage and flowers. I'm still going to try something like that next year, but just didn't work out this year, and that's okay. Lemon verbena, lemon balm, and you know, more of the same in that box. But now we're going from the east side of the house along the south side of the house over to the west side where the food forest is. The south side, by the way, is a big blank canvas. It gets shaded by this big oak tree all summer, but when that defoliates in the fall, this gets full sun all winter long. So prime location for some cold frames to grow greens through the winter. Any advice on that would be cool. Also ignore all of the lawn ornaments. The next building project is a garden shed with, of course, wood that we mill ourselves. Can't wait to share that with you guys. But here we are on the west side of the house. Honestly, it's basically just a milkweed forest, but we'll get there. Right on the right here is just some soil I threw on top of the soil that was already there and called it a garden bed so that I could put some of these cabbages in here. They've been hit pretty hard, especially that one with cabbage worms. That one looks okay. And this kale suddenly looks much better. None of that lettuce is good. That has been growing there forever. It's probably so disgustingly bitter, but I figured if I pull it out, there's just going to be weeds that grow. So I just let the lettuce do its thing. If it wants to go to seed, totally fine. That's a cauliflower. We got some bunching onions. Arugula that went to seed. I think that's a cabbage. I think that was a cauliflower. And then, hey, look, more zucchini. This one we actually ate a zucchini off of. That is that plant's first cabbage. Again, cabbage, you know what I meant. I need to stake one of these up. That was the point of this stake. At least I think, I don't know, maybe I'll just let them go. It looks like that one wants to go that way. That one wants to go this way anyway, so maybe we'll let it. And I guess since we're going this way, let's just continue on this border bed. Although, super sad. A high bush blueberry that my brother gave us. It's a Draper. Am I saying that right? Yeah. Yes. The other day, all of a sudden, it just went brown. I'm so sad. I don't know if it's totally dead. I don't think it is. I'm just so hopeful it comes back in the spring. If you guys have any suggestions, let me know. But the sunrise variety next to it is not dead, but it's looking, I don't know. How is that looking? Is it okay? Is it just late in the season? Or is that rough? I know the nutrition's not great here. I put pine needles in the hole when I planted them, as well as a little bit mulched around the base of the roots. So, but I don't know if that was enough. Let's just stand back. Overall, this out here is the septic tank and leach field under all of this, and it's just mostly sand. So there's not a lot of nutrition out here. It's a lot of prairie grass, crabgrass. However, everything in the middle here is pretty lush, so it's getting some nutrition from somewhere. But basically, I just did a little border garden around the edge, and down here I did more zinnias and sunflowers. All of that has been struggling. That beautiful dark orange sunflower opened pretty much around the same time the one out front did. I'm happy to see them. The marigolds are doing okay, but holy moly, these are the best looking veggies we got. We got some Brussels sprouts that are feeling great so far. Not you. Mixed bag on that one. But these are Waltham butternut squash. These seeds were somewhere between 10 to 15 years old. I had an old packet. I threw them all in a pile of dirt, and every single one of them almost germinated. So I frantically was stuffing squash everywhere, which is why you saw them everywhere out front. In here, there's 3 plants total, I think. 2 on a mound over here and 1 on a mound here. Clearly, it's doing okay. Look at the size of that beauty. And there's quite a few squashes on here, and it's not done vining by any means. It's very exciting. Definitely will be saving seeds from this sucker because it's hardy. But it did engulf another, you can't really see it I don't think, but there is another Brussels sprout in there that it no longer gets enough light. So I'm hopeful for these guys. I've never grown Brussels sprouts, and I've heard that they can look wonderful right to the bitter end, and then all of a sudden they just don't before you actually get any sprouts on them. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. Right next to them was our onion bed. It kind of still is. There's onions in there. They look rough. I did not thin them properly. Almost all of them are like 2 growing next to each other, so they never had a chance of getting their proper size. And it's okay. We're not growing for storage over here. We're just gonna have to eat them all. It was a learning lesson for next year. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Hello. Look at that beauty. Look at that chubby beauty. Oh, that makes me so happy. Oh, up, 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 up. Eat, eat, eat. There's another one on there. Oh my gosh. Anyway, onions, yeah. So we'll pick them, we'll eat them fresh. I was happy to let the milkweeds take over. And then there's also a broccoli and a nasturtium tucked in here, which this nasturtium got the most shade out of anyone. That's the best looking one we got. There's a couple beets in there. They've been pretty well mowed by grasshoppers and caterpillars. But the broccoli looks okay. Oh, I almost forgot this watermelon on the end. These are sugar, and this giant dill. Giant dill. But these are sugar baby watermelons that do not look great at all. It put out this little watermelon here, but hasn't got any bigger. The vine hasn't grown anymore. It's pretty dry out here. I'm probably not watering it enough, but also I don't think there's enough nutrition out here either. Tried my best to give it a nice hill of soil, but beyond that, it's kind of on its own. And I've, just mulched it with the grass clippings. Is what it is. And then next to the on the other side of the milkweed onion bed, had some Tulsi basil that looked okay. Some lettuce that's been growing there a long time. And several echinacea that I started from seed late winter, and I've not seen a single flower. The Japanese beetles and caterpillars and now giant grasshoppers just will not leave them alone. So they're still trying. They have been trying all season, but they just can't get ahead. So I will probably be investing in some insect netting for next year. But yeah, all of the echinacea has been a struggle. And this bergamot was a struggle, but it's finally looking like it's gonna bloom. I am beyond excited. Beyond. It is so beautiful. And even these smaller two, they look so lush and green. So I really hope that blooms and reseeds itself for next year. I'm gonna start more for next year as well and try again to give them and the echinacea a dedicated bed. And yeah, probably gonna oh, that one, those leaves, I don't know, you're gonna make it through. But yeah, try to keep the critters off them next year. And just some turnips that are But the milkweeds, let's now talk about the milkweeds. These milkweeds have brought me so much happiness because it has been, I swear, the year of the butterflies. Having these milkweeds here and watching monarchs thrive on just our humble little patch of milkweeds has probably been one of the top highlights of the whole season for me. They only have about 10% of their historic populations left, so it's really important that everyone, I think, should be saving the milkweeds. So it's so cool to see that even on just these few milkweeds, the butterflies have been thriving. Bob and I came out here last night just to do our evening gardening walk, and we counted at least 10 monarch caterpillars just readily available by the eye just walking out here, which is the most we saw all season. And this chrysalis right here was the first one I spotted. You can see it out the kitchen window. And once I was looking around, there's actually a few more stuck under the eaves of the siding over there. And I got to watch one hatch and dry its wings. It was so cool. So next year, this will just be a milkweed patch. I'm gonna let them go crazy. Plus, I'm gonna save a ton of seeds from them and sprinkle them all over the place. Now we'll flip back to the other side of kind of like my natural entry point here. And this is another indeterminate tomato bed with some Tulsi basil and some marigolds spotted in. These are French marigolds, and this nasturtium, actually, I take back what I said about the other one. I think this is our best looking one. And then all these wild poppies. This has been a beautiful little flush of flowers to look out the window at. But out here we've got 2 brandywines, 2 Cherokee purples, and 2 San Marzanos just out front. They actually look a bit better out here though, especially look at that San Marzano. They get more sun out here. I think that's helping a lot. But I don't know, maybe a mixed bag on the nutrition. I'm hopeful for these Cherokee purples. That one just has cracking, but I think, yeah, there's no soft moldy spots on that one. So hopefully the tomatoes out back here do a little bit better. There has been a few with some blossom end rot. I've trimmed off these San Marzanos, but for the most part, they all look much better. There's a lot more fruit, a lot more full foliage. They just look great. And there has been hornworms out here too, so we've been hand plucking those off. And then there's a little cherry one in this basket as well with some sweet pea that's kind of... So then swooping from that bed down to the back here, these are / were my strawberry beds. I didn't have the best luck planting plant starts. I planted 4 different varieties, 10 of each. I did Ozark Beauties, Sequoias, Surecrops, Eversweets, and 1 Surecrop lived out of all 40 of those. So I had the empty beds and I had the extra brassicas. I just tossed them in here. 3 cauliflowers, 2.5 cauliflowers, lacinato kale, curly kale. There's a thyme in that corner that's somehow surviving. But in the next bed, look at that oregano. That looks great. I think that's common oregano. And then the cabbage looks good. That cabbage looks good. This is probably, both of these are the best looking rosemaries I've got. So those are doing okay. Yeah, these cabbages, not that guy. These cabbages are looking all right. They might be okay. And then in the third bed, I threw a bunch of dill in here. It's a little dry. This is the 1 Surecrop strawberry plant that made it through. I'm excited because it's putting off runners. That one has rooted. But I want to root some more of its runners in some actual nice soil because I'm going to be moving the strawberries for next year. They're not doing terribly, but they're not doing their best. Back here, it's just mostly sand underneath this kind of grassy layer. So not much nutrition out here at all. But the rest of these strawberries, at least the bigger bushy ones, I just grabbed from Home Depot. They're ever-bearing, unknown variety. What I truly wanted was June-bearing. But now I have both, and that's okay with me. My brother also gave me some sparkle variety plugs that I definitely want to propagate as well. That's sending off runners. I'd like to root some of those. And next year, I'm going to make the tomato bed a strawberry bed. That one is going to be the June-bearing strawberries, so Surecrop and the sparkles. And then we're going to do another strawberry bed right here that'll be the ever-bearing unknown variety ones I got from Home Depot, and just let them spread out as well. Now we're at the last strawberry bed over. This bed is full. These strawberries I started from seed this spring. They are red and yellow Wonder Blend, which is a small alpine strawberry. I thought it was kind of fitting to grow them since we're on the side of a mountain. And they did so much better than I was expecting. They've even been trying to put out fruit. Their first year, they've put out tons of fruit. I mean, it's wizzly and terrible, like you don't want to eat it, but I'm proud of them. But I just had so many and nowhere to put them, and I was just so shocked how shitty and wizzly they looked in their seed starting trays all spring, and then they just lush out into the, they're looking rough now because obviously strawberry season is way past, but they've been looking so good. Excited to see what they do next year with better growing conditions. I'm going to be moving these strawberries as well. I just don't know exactly where I want to put them yet since they are a bit of a unique variety. But here's the question for you guys and something I need some help with. These beds desperately need some mulch, some covering. I want to put the strawberries to sleep for the winter properly with a nice straw layer. But I've heard some nightmare stories about straw either containing a bunch of seed that you don't want that's going to create a mess of weeding the next season, or it has pesticide contamination and it ends up damaging or killing all the strawberry plants. I'm really afraid of either of those things happening, so I don't know where to buy straw or what to look out for. Is it okay to just buy it at the store? Assume it's okay? Am I looking for a specific brand, label, place to get it? I don't know. So I would love some advice on the whole straw for strawberry beds situation. I know it's not hay. Hay I can get very easily around here from any of the farms, but the straw specifically, I want to do it right because the strawberries are very important to me. Now we'll move past those to the blueberries. We have 5 low bush blueberries here, which are actually doing okay, but again, not a lot of nutrition. They get really shaded in the afternoon by these big trees, so I'm going to move them. And also, oh my goodness, these poor things, they've been languishing, but they're still alive. I planted these 3 little rootstocks of Patriot high bush blueberries that are just have not been loving life down here at any point this season. So I'm actually going to move all of the blueberries up next to the milkweed patch, or like on the sunny side of the milkweed patch where there's a bit more nutrition. They'll be kind of up front more with the strawberries, and I'll be able to kind of be more hands-on with them. And I'm going to do the same thing with the honeyberries. I've got 4 honeyberries back here, 2 Aurora, 2 Borealis, and we're going to move those kind of like boop, 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 up to this area, kind of at where the end of the swing set is. That swing set will be going away elsewhere too, but yeah, the honeyberries need more sun, more love. They've been doing okay though. They don't look great anymore. This darkness in the leaves just kind of started coming on recently, but they're dry. It's been rough out here. They're just living in sand. The auroras look slightly better, but not great. It's a pink teeny lilac. I don't know if it's going to be happy there either. But on the top of the hill next to the berries is this very dry, very sandy asparagus and carrot patch. It's looking really sad, but I planted 6 bare rootstocks of, or whatever you call them, of asparagus, and I thought they died. But 2 months later, 5 of each variety came up. The varieties are escaping me at the moment. Well, one's purple, one's green. We now have 5 of each. Hopefully they're gonna make it out till next year. I don't know if they're gonna love it here, but the carrots are not loving it here. In fact, they just got pretty defoliated by something over the last few nights, so that really sucks. We're gonna amend this whole patch with hopefully compost and leaves and wood mulch, just like everything else. And then over here, some sad looking hills of squash. It's just been so dry, and out here it's just sand, no nutrition. These watermelons are struggling, probably not gonna put out anything else or grow any bigger fruits. Same with the spaghetti squash, the honey nut squash, and then Table King acorn squash. No one is doing great, so I don't know if we'll get anything. This one looks like the most promising vine. I think this was a honey nut, but I can't remember. It's okay. And we have a bush bean on each hill. That one gave us some beans, but it's kind of petering out now. Oh my gosh. Oops, missed that guy. Oh, there's 2 in there. What the heck? Okay, well, there we go. And then just some chamomile and calendula that have seen better days. This was an echinacea and bergamot bed. None of the bergamot survived out here, and same echinacea struggle with the bugs. over here, although they seem to be happy about the shade that the milkweeds have provided. Next year, we also plan on getting chickens. So right now, the thought is putting the chickens back on the backside of this upper area and the slope of the hill and just letting them not only keep it weeded, but also start enriching the soil back there, adding nutrition, helping us compost, doing all of the things. So in the future, when we want to add more perennial fruit bushes or trees, hopefully that will help. Again, if you have any tips and tricks, or if you see any specific problems that you know the solution for in our garden, please don't hesitate to let me know in the comments. I'm here for the learning. This was year one. I'm excited to implement the things that I've learned and the things that people share with me for next year. This channel is first and foremost about getting my finances together, and so any advice you can offer is just going to help unlock the next phase of my financial journey, which is growing my own food and reducing my food budget. Thank you so much for the help. Thank you so much for being here and taking a walk through my garden with me. I will see you very soon.